Let's get started with this webinar on this little tool that I have been talking and teasing about for some time. And it's gone through some testing. I wish I could take some credit on this, but this is the fabulous and fantastic work of Andrew Cleveland, who is here with us tonight. You can see his name at the top of the list. He's going to be talking about this and showing a few more things in detail. But I want to cover a few other things that will kind of lead us up into that. But Andrew is dangerously smart, especially for his age, and it is just excellent. So he's come up with some really cool stuff, and we actually have a lot of really cool things coming as well. So there's just a lot of really great stuff. So anyways, let's get right on to it. I have been talking about some new ways and some new deals and some new details, and so let's talk specifically about what this new trading tool is and how it's going to work and what it's going to do for us. As we know, first and foremost, most of us, now this is a MetaTrader app, you could say, a MetaTrader EA, Expert Advisor. If you're not using MetaTrader, this totally won't work for you at all. But the theory behind it is still, able to be replicated. But this is for MetaTrader. Now, I think 99% of people attending and watching and so on use MetaTrader. It is MT4, yes, MT4. So it shouldn't be a problem. But some people who have like FXCM and they use their deal trade station, whatever thing they have, this totally won't work for that. So this is a MetaTrader 4 only. It's not any other platform except for MetaTrader, and it may or may not come to other platforms. But for now, it's MetaTrader. Most of us run MetaTrader, no problem. Okay, so this trading tool, before I explain more about how it works and what it does, there's two ways we're going to go on this. This branches out one big way of just adding some super cool features to our already our existing abilities with MetaTrader. There are limitations with MetaTrader. We can put a pending order in, and that's it. We can put a market order in, and that's it. We can put a trailing stop in, that's it. And that's kind of it. Besides putting a stop loss and a profit target and a trailing stop, that's pretty much all we got. So what this tool, I will talk a little bit more about some of the features and what it does, and then we'll have Andrew explain a few more things here. But on the simplest level, on the most basic level, it adds a lot of cool new features, and just makes the day-to-day trading that much more awesome, which is super great. And thank you for that, Adrian. Yes, anyone can open a MetaTrader account for free. It's just totally free. And pretty much if you're with any one of the major Forex brokers or just any Forex broker, chances are they use MetaTrader as their default platform. So again, this will add some cool, new, awesome features. If you just are a traditional trader and you're looking for, a few more things to be able to add stop losses and take profits and do a couple other things in a couple of cool ways, which I'll show you in a moment, that is super great. But if you're thinking about branching out just a little tiny bit and you're interested in more than just having some cool new features, which is awesome, then there's a whole new way of trading with this little tool here. Now, what do I mean by that? Let me tell you. Let me just tell you why this tool is cool. The tool is cool. Because it hugely helps eliminate losses in trading. That's awesome. It will help you manage your risk so much, which is our biggest challenge in trading. And as mentioned, there's some awesome new features on here, and it just makes things more totally rad awesome. It's just such a great little tool. So let's talk a little bit more about this, how you can get it, when it's available, all that stuff is coming. Let's talk about what it is and what it does. I am going to revert to just simply MetaTrader itself, and let's talk about how this works and what it does. So let's bring this puppy up. I'm going to have Andrew show in a couple of moments some of the features in a little bit more detail, but let me just tell you in general what this tool does. Now, as mentioned, on the new feature side of things, if we put a pending order on and we want to have some more details to that pending order, again, all we can do basically is put a stop loss, take profit, and a trailing stop, and that's it. But there's a lot of things that many of us would like to have happen. First of all, I know that a bunch of people here would like the simple feature, myself included, the simple feature of if I put a pending order on or a market order, get in right now, whatever, I would like to just have a stop loss move to break even or to 1 pip profit or 3 pips profit or whatever at a certain point. For example, I put a buy trade on something and at 15 pips profit, I just want to have a stop loss automatically move to break even. So I'm not risking anything, but maybe I don't love trailing stops. Some people love trailing stops, some people don't love them. And if you don't love a trailing stop, this is such a great feature to have because you can simply move your stop to break even or to 1 pip profit or 2 pips profit or whatever you say, and then you can give your trade maximum movement from the point of entry to the current price to move and wiggle and ultimately develop and make a nice run in the direction that you were looking for. So having just a simple feature like being able to move your stop to break even or 1 or 2 or 3 pips profit or whatever you set it at is a very, very powerful tool. I like that, Adrian, the DTFX Trade Manager. It is absolutely a fantastic trade manager, and that's a great name. Now, I'd love to incorporate some of Andrew's something in there because this was just his brainchild. But yes, essentially, it's a perfect trade manager. So it allows for that. A lot of other things that it can do. Let's pull it up. For anybody that has not used an EA, this is kind of how it will work. If you just go to your MetaTrader and you have a couple of things in here, under your expert advisors, you'll see, I've got some stuff in there, pivot points and blah, 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 whatever. There you go, Adrian. I love it. So we just drag this over, right? We've got our MetaTrader up. We just drag this over, and you can see now when we make a typical pending order or any kind of an order, we go to our new order box and we've got a few features: stop loss, take profit. If we want it to be a market execution or a pending order, boom, we're done. You can see that this gives you incredible amounts of possibilities for your trade, which is super cool. We go from basically 3 options to 20 options, and it's just totally great. And the comment doesn't work. I know what you're talking about, Mel, on the new order box. I know. I don't even know why that thing's there, but apparently it's supposed to do something. So some of the features that this gives us, again, on the side of just simply giving us new features and new possibilities to trade with, you enter your trade through this trade manager box, through this area right here. You tell the market, where am I getting in? Where's my buy price? Where's my sell price? Whether it's current price or 20 pips away or 50 pips away or whatever. It'll fill it right now. It'll fill it, in 20 pips. Wherever you tell it to go, that's where it's putting your trade in. Now, on the simple front, you can just buy or sell wherever you want on whatever pair you want. And then you can start using some of these things. For example, you can use some of the easy alerts. You can have it send you an email, send you some alerts when your trade's filled, which you can do on MetaTrader, and I know a lot of people do, but it's a really easy interface right here to just put that in there. You put your trade size, your stop losses, your take profits, all of that stuff, and it's just and it's great, and everything goes in right there, and we're good to go. Here we have some of those features I was talking about, moving your stop loss. At a certain amount of pips, move your stop to break even. You can have a regular trailing stop on here where it just follows your trade by 20 pips or 15 pips or whatever you tell it. Or my preferred method is to, at a certain point of profitability, have a stop just move to break even. I have always had weird times with trailing stops. I prefer to just move to break even and even manually trail myself. But oftentimes we're asleep or we're not at our computer or something when a trade fills, and it can run to break, or it can run 15, 20 pips in profit and then reverse and go all the way the other direction. And at least if you're covered with that break even, that right there is a lot of good money in the bank. And the push notification, yeah, I don't know. That's all crazy stuff there. I haven't had much success with just MetaTrader's notification. But with this, we can do so many extra fantastic things, including if we have pending orders, if we have hedges, if we have different kinds of things, we can set this program to, if we don't want to get it put in on a news spike, for example, you can set it so that it will wait until whatever time frame, whatever chart you're on, opens on the other side of a level of support or resistance. So instead of just put me in here at this price, you can say put me in at this price also after the market has opened, after a new candle is opened and closed above this level that I'm looking at. It's a great way to set pending orders and not get put in on news spikes, which is super excellent. That's a great feature to have. And so as you can see, there's a lot of just really cool, practical, functioning features that will keep us out of bad trades, keep our good trades safe, keep our money safe. The whole goal here is just to make sure that we're not, we're not losing any money that we don't have to. Another great feature that this has on here is if you, a lot of times we set hedges, right? So we'll set a hedge. We'll say, okay, here's a pending order to a sell stop to sell at this certain price, and we're going to have a hedge. If the trade doesn't go well, we'll hedge it at this price. And then it's not most of the time possible to set both a pending order trade as well as a there we go. A pending order trade, like a sell stop, and then a pending order hedge. You can't do that because that's going to put you into, your other trade before your original trade gets put in. And so we have to kind of, to be able to hedge, we have to put a pending order, and then whenever our trade fills, come back and set a hedge or set whatever we're going to do. So it's a great way to easily place your hedges and to place your pending orders as well without having to worry about coming back to your charts after your original trade is filled, doing all of that stuff. So there's some great functions and features there. I'm going to have Andrew go over this stuff in a little bit more detail in just a moment. But what we have there is just a lot of really great, awesome features, which I like. I think that's awesome. I think having a good trade manager is very, very helpful. And so that's one side of things. Now, okay, so actually what we'll do, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes, I'm going to pass the screen over to Andrew, and he's just going to explain those basic features. And then we're going to talk about the real hedging side of things in a moment. But I want to have him just go over in a little bit more detail how all of this works, and how that all works out there. And feel free to ask questions. I can be over here typing answers to questions. Andrew can answer questions and so on. But I want him to just talk about some of the features there, and then we're going to go into the real hedging part of it, which is super interesting, which is probably my favorite, my favorite part of this whole thing, and that's where it gives us a lot of possibilities and a lot of really cool things there. Okay, so let's pass this puppy over to Andrew. If you, Andrew, will show your screen, start a little bit of projecting. And you can just jump on the old microphone there, and we'll look at your screen here. So let me know. Type in, unless we hear you, type in and just let me know as soon as you're talking, so we can make sure the microphone's working. I always like to do a quick little sound test. Okay. Okay, so Andrew just sent me a message that says the sound is not working. That is... Oh, well, let's see. Something was coming. Can we hear you at all, Andrew? Are you coming through? No, I don't hear anything. Okay, no worries, no worries. Okay, all right. So we're having a little sound issue on Andrew's end. No problem. He can be here to kind of type in some answers to questions. We should have done a little bit more of a sound test before. That was my bad, but that's okay because we can still cover everything we need to cover. So the moral of the first part of this story is this trade manager gives a lot of really cool features and a lot of really cool functions that will make trading just that much more awesome. For people that don't like to hedge, or people that can't hedge because they want to stay with a U.S. broker, or they have first in, first out issues, this is a great tool to just make sure that that if you set a pending order, you don't get put into a trade that you don't want to be put into because of a news spike, or if you want to have something that will move your stops to break even, which is priceless, trust me. Then this is a great tool and a great help for all of that. Gerhard wants a little bit of a line-by-line explanation, and I will do that as soon as I explain this next part, which is going to be very, very important. Now, it looks like, Andrew, it looks like you can move my mouse, but it's not giving us any audio. Man, that's a bummer. Yes, I will give some line-by-line explanations on that, but let's go to a slightly different part real quick here. And discuss kind of the other feature that you can use on this program. Okay, so cool features, awesome, we love that. The next thing is for those that are able to hedge and that like to hedge, like myself. I love hedging. I think it's great. I think it's a great way to work your way out of a bad position. I think it's totally awesome and totally fantastic, and I stand by it 100%. Now, in typical manual hedging, just to kind of explain for 1 second, is essentially if we have a buy order on the euro dollar and the trade goes bad, and we just want to give it a little bit of time, we're confident in the direction, we'll put a sell trade on the same pair at the same time, and it will just offset our position. So now our buy trade is going negative. Uh-oh, I think we got you, Andrew.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming through.
Hello? Okay. Oh, sorry about that. I haven't used this mic in about 6 months.
Okay, no problem. No problemo. Okay, Andrew, let's for a moment, let's take you, let's have you take us through a couple of details on this, minus the major hedging part. Just talk to us about some of these other features and functions.
Sure. Hang on a sec.
No problem.
So is my desktop sharing right now?
No, mine is, though, and it looks like you're moving my mouse, which is totally great.
Sorry about that.
No, that's perfect. So if you can see my screen good enough, then we can just use it right from my desktop, if that works.
Sure. Yeah, that works. Okay. So hey guys, how's it going? So real quick, I want to emphasize.
We're getting just a little bit of echo. Maybe turn your mic down just a little bit. Everyone's saying they're getting some echo.
Okay, how about now?
No, it sounds good to me. Is anyone else having? Is the audio kind of? Yeah, there's a little bit of echo there, but.
How about now?
I think that's better. Okay, I think we're good.
Good?
Yep. I think
good
that's
for some people.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, just go for it. We can all adjust our volumes if we need to.
Okay. All right. So just real quick, I want to emphasize that I made this for the main objective for making this EA was convenience. I started my career as an internet marketer, and the way in that world they get people to buy stuff is basically 99% hype. So I just want to emphasize that this is mainly for convenience. It's not like a get rich quick sort of deal. But yeah. So I made this because I couldn't really follow along with Jared's trades because I'm not at my computer all the time. So what kept happening was I would get put into my hedge before I got put into my buy or sell order. So I made this to fix that. So basically we'll start here, and you can input your buy and sell orders in here. And
sorry. Let me just
everything. By the way,
let me just take the mouse for one moment. I'll just mute my my end. Okay. Never mind. I think that muted both of us. Sorry. Keep going.
Oh, okay. So real quick, everything is in pips instead of price. So, for example, the stop loss and take profit, you would input in pips instead of a price on the chart. So the first feature is the lock-in pips feature, and all the time Jared will say, "All right, guys, we're moving our stops to break even or something," and so right here, so at 50 pips profit, it'll lock in 10 pips, and you can adjust that, obviously. So the candle close order is also one of my favorite parts of this. So what will happen often is, well, not too often with Jared's trades because it's pretty spot on, but we'll oftentimes get like a spike, and it will put us into a trade, and it reverses. So if the candle close feature is true, the candle has to close beyond that level, and if it closes beyond that level by, say, 30 pips, it will not take the trade. So that's basically to avoid new spike trades getting taken in to trades due to new spikes. There's another feature, and that's the expiration time minutes. So if you attach this to a chart and you put in 60 minutes, so from the time you put it on the chart, it will be deleted 60 minutes later. So that's just, something you may or may not use.
Which is a great feature if we have like a news announcement coming and we want to cancel orders if we're not in by the time the news announcement happens or something. Just nice little convenience factors.
So there's another option to buy and sell, and that's basically with the trend line. Can I do something to your chart real quick, Jared?
Yeah.
So all you do here is so you can create a trend line, and you can just basically trail price. So this is for if you scalp. I scalp sometimes, and oftentimes I will trail price. So it's basically the same as doing it with a pending trailing price with a pending order. There's not too much detail to go into there. Let's see here. So again, your stop loss and take profit are in pips, and so if you're not American, you can hedge if you don't have an American broker, and that's basically the other side of the coin. This is where an actual strategy, where you can use an actual strategy for this. So this goes, this part of the EA goes beyond just the convenience factor.
So let's spend 2 seconds. I can feel some questions coming. Let's go back for just a moment to the buy and the sell trend line situation. So
sure.
So that number one, just to kind of explain to everybody, that is a way to trail a trade as well as enter a trade, or talk a little bit more about that.
Sure. So the trend. So just think of the trend line feature as as a pending order. It works the exact same as, it has all the same features as just the regular buy and sell part of this manager. And so you create a trend line, and you name the trend line whatever it is here. So if you can change this to anything you want. So all you need to name the trend line on your chart the same thing that is in here. That's pretty important. And then you need to put a character in the description. So that basically activates that changes the normal trend line to work with this EA. And it's basically just like having a pending order, but you get all of this stuff along with it. So when you get taken into a trade, you can use the lock-in pips feature, or you can use the hedging feature. It's basically just a pending order.
Perfect. So let me just go in on that just a little tiny bit more with everyone for a moment, and to answer some questions real quick. Yes, Mel, the EA would disappear after the expiration, or the pending order would disappear, and yes, Jan, the whatever time frame you put this on, you would have to leave it on. So if you want a 15-minute candle to open above or below, you'd put it on a 15-minute chart, or a 1-hour candle, or so on. So yes, that's how the candle settings would work. And Mel, there will be a lot of documented detail stuff on all of the features of this. Yes. Just real quick to show everybody how you name a trend line. Any kind of support or resistance, any kind of horizontal line or vertical line, you can just double click on that, and then right click and go to trend line properties, and in this area you can name it and description. So you'd put it's the description area, right, Andrew, that you just put a character like that?
Yeah, I just put there, and in the name is you put the same name that's in the EA. So in the EA it says buy. So if you want to buy, you'd put buy. If you want to sell, you'd name it sell.
Right. And so now what it's looking for here is now we've named that. So we've just gone to common under trendline properties, and we've named that. And now this is recognized. See, if I put my mouse over it, it says sell, and it has that little asterisk. But now the EA is looking for this trend line, and it's using this as a parameter, as like a pending order. If you want to get in on a trend line breakout, you name your trend line. Instead of having to put in a specific price, like I want to sell at whatever price, you say I want to sell when the market breaks this trend line, and so so it gives you a lot of convenience and flexibility there.
Can I interrupt you, Jared?
Yeah.
So what I really like about the trendline part is using the candle close feature, because oftentimes, so what could happen if you didn't use that feature is it could just it could bounce off the trend line, you get taken into the order. But if you have that feature, the candle close feature turned on, price has to close above or below that trend line before you're taken into a trade.
Oh, man.
And if it closes beyond, however many pips you define, it will also disregard that trade. So it's super, super flexible.
Super flexible, super convenient. And how many times have we in the group said, okay, this is a trend line. How you can't very safely set a pending order to enter at the break of a trend line, because especially if we go to bed and the trend line's right here and the market continues to trickle up, and then sometime while we're asleep the market breaks out, it runs 30 pips, and then it gets to our pending order, and then it's at the end of its move, and it's just garbage. So yeah, too many times that happens, too many times. And so with this feature right here, we can just name our trend line and say, and we can use these features that Andrew did such a great job explaining right here, like, okay, for example, let the candle close below this trend line, but I don't want to get in if the candle closes 40 pips below the trend line on a news spike. I want to get in if it closes 10 pips or less below the trend line. So that right there is just another ridiculously fantastic feature that this has on it. We've used so many of these. We love trading bear flags, we love trading bull flags, but it's almost impossible to do with a pending order. until now. So that's a huge feature. So yeah, very good. Keep going, Andrew.
Okay. So let me take questions real quick before I get into the hedging part, because that's like a whole strategy that anybody can use basically. So are there any questions about the basic features? Because these next ones are a little more advanced.
Any questions about any of that stuff, guys? Anything you want to bring up? It's so far, the basic things that it does is just so great, so great.
Not in the version. This is 1.7D, or it shouldn't be. If it is restricted, I'll just have it changed.
Yeah, so Andrew definitely saying that you can do this on a trend line or a horizontal, a support or resistance level, a trend level, anything like that, and it's such a great way to get in on those price pattern breakouts. Okay.
And in the newest version, it will absolutely work for any trend line. A pivot? You could put the trend line at the same level as the pivot, for sure.
Yeah. So you just throw in a horizontal level.
Does that make sense?
Right on a pivot point, and then name that horizontal line. If you wanted, yeah, exactly. If you wanted to trade a break of a pivot, and you wanted the market to open on the other side of that, and do all that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, trend line where you can put the buy and entry price anywhere. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So Andrew, let me for one moment. I'm going to let you go through the technical side of this, but I want to explain the idea and the how this kind of branches off beyond convenient. I definitely am going to have you cover the technical part of it, but I just want to kind of tell everyone the next part of this hedging strategy in general, and then definitely you can show on here
Sure.
how that'll work. Okay, so and great job on that. That was awesome. This is such a great little tool. I just think it's fantastic. And it's actually like 10 things in one, really. I mean, I used to, and a lot of people in the group might be, might remember way back in the day, I had that simple EA that would just get you into trades when it opened or closed, when the market opened or closed above a specific level, and it had to be price. You would say, here's 106.50. Thanks, Carolyn. Great to see you. Have a good night. And it would the old pip tank, as you guys remember, is what I used to call it. And it would just simply do that. It would buy when the market opened above a price or sell when the market opened below a price. This you can use angled trend lines. You can do so much with it. It's just so versatile and fantastic. And that's one of like 5 big things that this does, which is super great. And okay, so Gerhard, if you want to buy or if you want to use buy sell, do you change entry buy sell to 0? That's a good question, Andrew. How do you do that on the if you use the trend line for the entry? Do you just leave the buy and sell price at 0?
Yeah. Just leave it at 0.
Perfect. Good. Yeah. So it's now just looking for the trend line. It's not looking for a specific price. It's looking specifically for the trend line. Good question. Okay. So.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Asking. So are you asking if you want to just buy, you don't want to sell? Is that what you're asking?
I think Gerhard's asking if you use the trend line feature, would you just leave the buy and sell prices at 0 if you're just having it look for a trend line or a support or resistance level to enter on?
Oh. Yeah, you could leave it at 0. You could leave it at 9,999.
Perfect. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, super good. So all right. So those are a lot of the awesome features that this has. one of the other things that makes me so ridiculously excited, and again, I'll have Andrew go in a little bit more detail about this. One thing that is super amazing, and there is some development still in the works here, but you can see some of these numbers right here, where you have hedging, custom hedging, all of that stuff. Now, many of you that have watched my hedging webinar know that I talk about a couple of things. Number one, try to be in as minimally hedged trades as possible. Good point, Jan. And you know, have one or two hedge trades. That's it. Call it good. And so on. And the other thing I talk about is don't, or be very careful with hedging a position with a larger size than your original entry. And these are all reasons because manual trading, most people can't sit and watch their charts just nonstop, and so you have to just kind of play it careful and play it safe when you're doing the manual hedging side of things. Well, because this is an automated program and it'll just do what we tell it to do and not get tired after sitting in front of the chart for an hour, it'll just be watching and waiting 24 hours a day. It gives us some fantastic options and possibilities, and Andrew has done a ridiculously good job at figuring out a lot of numbers and a lot of scenarios that make this work super fantastic. One of the big premises behind this is that if we decide to use the hedge feature, there are some really, really good little steps we can follow here. So first of all, if we use the hedging feature, you can say custom hedging distances. So what this will do for us, and Andrew has some great numbers already lined up, but if we say, okay, I'm going to get into this trade, and if it goes against me 30 pips, I want to hedge. I don't want to be stuck in this thing. Just start hedging at 30 pips. Well, it'll do that. It also gives you the possibility to, once it goes against you 30 pips, how much do you want to hedge it? Do you want to hedge it the same size? Do you want to hedge it larger? Do you want to hedge it really large? Do you want to just do a little bit bigger? You can set it to, if you're in a one lot buy and you want it to hedge at 30 pips negative, then you just will set it, you can set it to hedge one lot at a sell at 30 pips negative, and you'll just be equally hedged, and the market can move 1,000,000 pips in any direction, and it's not going to make your trade any more positive or negative than those 30 pips. Well, what we found out here is there's some pretty good opportunity for, once you hedge, to put a larger trade size on that hedge, because now we have the flexibility of a program doing the dirty work for us. We don't have to sit in front of our charts nonstop. So what we found out here is that you can hedge, let's say your original buy position is one lot. At 30 pips against you, you could hedge it 3 lots. And then the market only has to run 10 pips further against you once you get your hedge in there, and then you can just close out both trades at break even and just be done with it, and not be stuck in a hedge for days and days and try to get out of it and all that stuff, which we have all done a lot of times. But here's a challenge that a lot of people have had, myself included. The second I decide to hedge, I say, okay, the market's against me 30 pips, I'm going to hedge. And what do you know, the second you throw that hedge on, the market turns, maybe it goes 3 more pips, and then it turns around and starts running right back in the direction of your original trade. And then you've got this negative hedge, and you've got a negative original position, and you're stuck in the middle of it, and it's a freaking pain. Well, what this will give you the possibility of doing is it gives you a lot of options. You can see here numbers and slash marks here that give you really a whole bunch of opportunities to add additional positions. So what we have found is that it's very effective to, for example, if a trade goes against you 30 pips, throw a hedge on. Make it a little bit bigger than your original position, so that if it keeps going against you, you can just get out of everything pretty quickly with break even or even a small little profit, and you're done. But if that hedge now only goes a couple of pips and then turns around and starts heading right back in the direction of your original trade, you could say, well, if it hits 30 pips and hedges, and then that hedge gets filled and it starts running back towards my original position, then you say, well, I'm only going to let that hedge run down 15 pips, for example. And that's a feature that you can program in here as well, very easily. You say, you say, I'm going to let it go against me 15 pips, and then I'm going to I'm going to hedge it again. Now I'm hedging my hedge. I'm putting it in the direction of my original position. So now we have 2 trades in the direction of our original position, and we have 1 trade that's now that hedge. And so we kind of hedge our original position, and then we hedge our our hedge, and it kind of goes from there. So because so many times we throw a hedge on and then the market will just go right back in the other direction of our original position. So we can hedge our hedge, and we can hedge our hedge again if that goes negative, and hedge our hedge, and so on. And so you can end up with 4 or 5 positions tied to just one original position, which is something that's pretty super cool. It can use a lot of margin, so when you use the hedging feature like this, you have to use some smaller lot sizes if you're planning on doing this progressive hedging function here. It can use up a good little bit of margin. So at that point, we start with much smaller lot sizes. Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, so when you start off with this I highly recommend you just use Jared's levels. The hedging strategy that he was talking about here, that's an actual strategy, and it goes, so it's not, it is convenient, but it goes way beyond the convenience factor. And to use this strategy and not dry up your margin, you need to start small. You need to do your own research. You need to find out which distances you want to use. I have some pretty solid distances and lot sizes for the euro dollar, for example, but that's not those distances and those sizes aren't, for example, going to work for the pound Aussie, which oftentimes will move 200 pips in a day, and sometimes it has a 5-pip spread. So this is more of the strategy side of things, and if you're going to start off with this, I would highly recommend just using it to hedge your normal day traders FX orders at Jared's levels.
Good point. Very good point. And that definitely brings us to the next topic of, there will be a course. We're going to do just kind of a class, and for those that decide they want this trading feature, there's going to be something included with it. We'll include a couple of webinars that will discuss strategy behind this, and we will be coming out with, we'll be looking at more pairs and strategies with different pairs with possibly more volatility and higher spreads, and what some of the possibilities are there as well. So for now, definitely it's got some great convenience factor, and for those that buy it, we will talk about, we'll have some follow-up webinars where we talk about the strategy behind it, because as Andrew says, this is a trading strategy more than just a convenience factor. Now we're moving beyond, hey, it's cool that we can trade on the other side of a trend line and so on. This now turns into a much more serious strategy, which as Linda's saying, yes, you can use up a lot of margin, you can do some interesting things there, but if you know the strategy and the things behind it, it is a very, very, very powerful tool for getting you out of bad positions and making money on losing trades, which I don't know if that sounds amazing to anybody, but that's like the holy grail right there. And so there's some really good features to this tool here that will help us, as I mentioned, manage bad positions and turn them into winning positions. But it's a pretty intensive strategy, and that will be included in the purchase of this trade manager. So that will be followed up, but definitely before knowing that and so on. And this isn't even available to buy today, by the way. I will give you guys a link where you can go and get on the list. This will be available in a couple of days because there's some more training material that needs to go with it. So there's kind of an early bird waiting list, I guess you could say, that will get everybody on, and then we can kind of go from there. But the hedging strategy is amazing, and the fact that it's got some options to hedge multiple times, to hedge a position multiple times in multiple directions and at multiple trade sizes is crazy powerful and very, very effective. So we'll talk more about that. Okay, so that is awesome, and I love that. And I want Andrew to talk a little bit more about the features of how some of these other functions will work with that hedging strategy.
Right. Um, Absolutely. So, these features down here are you can use them as part of this. Yeah, they go with the strategy basically. So this would be a little easier to explain if I could make the Omnovia show my screen, but I guess Omnovia doesn't like me, so I'll use Jared's screen. But so say you want to use the strategy, you've done your research, you know which distances you want to hedge at, you know what lot sizes you want to use. So you have an open order, you have a buy order open at, let's say, $1 a pip. So you have a buy order open, and it gets hedged. Hang on one second. Let's say it gets hedged at 30 pips, and you're using the strategy now. So you're not using the same lot size. So let's say you use 0.3 lots this time. So once an order is hedged, it becomes part of a cycle. As you can see here, all these features say cycle, close cycle, pitch profit, pitch loss. So once an order is hedged, it is now called a cycle. So to keep this simple, let's say you buy at $1 pip, so 0.1 standard lots. It goes against you 30 pips, and it gets you into the hedge. So now you have two orders open. You have that $1 pip open, you have $3 a pip open. So you have a total of 0.4 lots open. So now it's part of the cycle. And as Jared said, to break even, it only needs to move 10 pips at that point. So we're doing the math here. It's 10 pips if the hedging size is, or if the hedging distance is 3. So you would put, I usually do 1 if I want to break even. So it will close the cycle at 1 pip profit of the cycle. So that means this lot here has to basically overcome your first order, which is $1 pip, and it will close the cycle at 1 pip profit. And you can do that. You can do the same thing for a loss. Basically, take profit and and stop loss for the cycle. What makes this all really cool too is you can use a trailing stop for the cycle, and you can also use the locking pips feature for the cycle. Does that make sense to everybody? Again, I don't have my screen shown here, so it's kind of hard to explain everything without the pictures.
Yeah, is that coming through pretty good? So good, okay, awesome. So essentially, it's just the same as a single order. It's just now that we've got a cycle, and so as you mentioned, if we have 3 lots short and 1 lot long, whatever the distance between that hedge is, say 20 pips. Now that slightly larger position doesn't have to move quite as far to get everything to break even, because it's 2 or 3 or 4 times the size of your original position. And so that you don't have to sit and calculate that and think, okay, how many pips is 2 pips profit if I have 1 lot short and 4 lots long or whatever. It'll just calculate it all for you. It'll say, okay, this is a cycle. What do you want? You want 1 pip? You want 5 pips? You want 10 pips? And you just let it do the rest. So it does a lot of internal fantastic math, which is super cool.
Right. And again, I just want to keep stressing that this is part of an actual strategy. It's entirely optional. I completely recommend starting off by using this EA to follow along with Jared's trades. So. Yeah.
Definitely. Yep. Very good. Okay, so now we've kind of talked about the two parts here. There's a lot more detail to come with all of this, but as you can see, it adds a lot of cool features to just, entering at the breaks of trend lines and doing all of that. Back in the day, by the way, and I don't know, some of you guys might actually remember this. I knew somebody that did some trainings, and he made an EA that simply, a little robot like this, that simply would enter at the break of a trend line. That was it. And he sold it for $900. Did anyone ever use the Magic Stick? Anyone ever use the Magic Stick? Anyone in here? I bet there's somebody in here that used that Magic Stick like a long time ago, like probably, 5 or 6 years ago, or maybe somewhere in that general vicinity. But I think he sold it for $1,200 and then dropped it down to $900 and then $600 or something. But hundreds of dollars for this thing. Because that's a pretty awesome feature, but that's obviously out of the realm of anything I would ever charge anybody for anything. But again, I just want to stress the fact that this is like 5 EAs, 5 robots put into one, and it really does a lot of super cool things, just from simply moving stops to break even for you, to entering at the breaks of trend lines, to an awesome hedging feature, to just a lot of really great things like that. And so it's really, really versatile. You can do a lot with it on a lot of pairs. Again, there will be follow-up on more on the strategy on how this whole thing works. But the purpose of this webinar is to kind of give an introduction, how this works, what it is, what it's supposed to do, and the idea behind it. And I hope we've been successful at that. I hope you guys can kind of see what this is and the potential of how great it is. Again, any one of those features I think is totally awesome, but the fact that there's several of them put together is just super great. Susan, to answer your question, so to trade, you just set the cycle to close at X pips. Yep, and it takes, and it'll take the trades. Yeah, you can set all the details in there, and it'll just go nuts. It'll just do whatever you tell it to do. Which is super cool. And again, there's going to be a lot more detail about how this works. There will be some more training, some follow-up webinars, and so on for those that decide they want this. But for the meantime, what you can do is you can go to this right here, which I hope that works. Let's just double check. daytradersfx.com/hedge. So just go to this little link right here, and you can join our early bird list. Like I said, it's not ready yet. It's almost ready, but it's not ready yet. Put your name and your email address in. Obviously, you're in here, so I already have your name and I already have your email address, but I need it so that I can follow up with you and let you know as soon as this is available and ready to be purchased and ready to be put to use and ready to have the additional training with that. So go to the website, put your name and email address in. We'd love to see it. And I hope this has been interesting for you tonight. I thank Andrew for his time and his awesome work that he's done on all this, because it has been pretty fantastic. And I hope you're excited about this program and kind of a new way of looking at the market and kind of giving a little bit more of an aggressive approach to managing losing trades, and to a lot more convenience factor to just getting into trades in general. So again, just using it to get into regular old trades, it adds a lot of cool features. But if you really want to delve into the whole hedging side of things and how to aggressively manage bad positions, it is mind-blowing. So thanks for being on with us, guys. There will be a lot more follow-up stuff, but I just wanted to give you guys an intro on this and give you an opportunity to either be interested or totally not interested. I, for one, think this is totally awesome. So thanks for being on with us, guys. Thanks for being on, Andrew. I know it's late for everybody. And yes, so the price and all that stuff will be posted shortly. Let me just tell you that it's not going to be crazy expensive, because that's not what I do. So we'll be somewhere in the $50 to $75 range, somewhere along those lines. So just plan on that. And remember, that'll come with the tool itself, as well as some follow-up trainings that will go with it, some recordings, some written material, and so on. Thanks so much for being on with us, guys. Really appreciate it. Any last-minute questions, send them on over. We'll be right here for a couple more minutes, and we can type in some details. But again, thanks everybody for being on. Great to see you all. and have a wonderful night. Thanks, guys.